Welcome, my friends. Welcome to a new edition of More Bad News, brought to you, as always, by Camel Cigarettes. Take the Camels Challenge. Smoke Camels for 30 days and see for yourself why Camels, why more doctors smoked Camels than any other cigarettes, why Camels was America's favorite cigarette at a time when America was the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Well, my friends, it's been another week of very bad news. But before I get to that, I have to say that I just got back from Lake Superior. Karen and I went on a 10-mile, 6-hour hike along the Lake Superior Painted Rocks shoreline. Magnificent. Well, you're surrounded by centuries-old trees. And the conversation that we had for those 6 hours, the most profound exchange we had was, wow, wow. There was really nothing more to say. The pleasure, the privilege, the joy, the freedom to be able to do that, the peacefulness of it all. And then, of course, the next day, we hopped in the car. I'm 76 years old. I'll be 77 in March. And what you want to do is, after you hike 10 miles, sit in a car for 5 hours. That's so that, and we just got out, just emptied the car out now. And I knew that if I had to do it now, if I didn't do it now, just crash. And as soon as this is over, I'm going to crash, and that'll be the end of it. But in the meantime, I did want to say a few things about the bad news last week. Very bad news. I think everybody in the world recognizes that this is very bad news. And it's very bad news because it presents a risk. Nobody knows where this could go. But I will remind you that Israel is a nuclear-armed country with a very powerful nuclear armaments. They have nuclear submarines, submarines that can launch nuclear missiles. They have aircraft that can launch nuclear missiles, and they have mobile ground-launched nuclear missiles and siloed missiles. So they have an entire nuclear system, and it's very formidable. So we really don't know what would happen if this escalates. And the chances of escalation, God knows. I mean, we live in a world with extremely poor government and leadership everywhere. The Israeli government, the Minister of National Defense is Itamar Ben-Gvir. And I would compare him to if Trump were president and he pardoned the head of the Proud Boys and made him a chairman of the Department of Defense. That would be about right. But the news that caught my eye from last week was in Science magazine. And I want to refer to my written notes here. It says, last week, Science magazine reported that an estimated 10 billion snow crabs disappeared between 2018 and 2021. The loss encompassed more than 90% of the snow crab population of the Bering Seas, nearly 4 times the combined total of the number of crabs that were harvested between 1977 and 2022. In other words, the snow crab population has very rapidly and mysteriously, it was a very healthy population, and they are gone. Now, the advantage, this is my own comment, as I was reading it, I was thinking, the advantage to this, of course, is that the snow crabs no longer require boiling. They're ready to eat right out of the ocean. They're already come cooked. I can joke about this because I'm Jewish and I don't eat snow crabs. However, it does indicate what time it is on this planet. Because the ocean is boiling, and you have 10 billion snow crabs who overnight really disappear because they can't take it anymore. And that's what's going to happen to the phytoplankton. And when that happens, the most fundamental base for the food chain is gone, and then everything above it just collapses. So that was very bad news, but nobody seemed to bother with that bad news, because the bad news that's taking place is bad news that involves war and drama, and you can choose sides. You can hate the one side and love the other side, and you can blame, and you can get all kinds of emotional energy out of it, and increase your level of anxiety and misery. I mean, those are all the advantages of the bad news from the Middle East last week. I reported, I think it was 2 weeks ago, well, maybe I didn't talk about this. Leo, my cat, up there, that's Lila. Leo has the ability to come and go as he pleases. It's like he had that, and when we close it down, we don't allow cats out anymore. We don't support that idea, but he already is used to that, and we tried stopping it, and it did not work. You cannot fight with a cat. So, he's a hunter. So he came in this 2 weeks ago, so last week, I guess, and carrying a mouse in his mouth, and then dropped it in the living room, and the mouse was fine and just started running around. Now I had 4 cats chasing around after this little mouse, and by the grace of God, the little mouse escaped, all 4 cats. The next day, I was able to actually catch the mouse, in a little plastic Ziploc kind of plastic container, and then slip something underneath. I had the mouse, and I turned it over, and then I took him outside and I let him go. And it was, I mean, it just, I got to tell you, 2 weeks ago, this is the 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, a little kitten showed up, and he just started rubbing it. He hung around. So we put him in the catio, took him to the vet. We had him fixed, and the vet helped me find a home for this kitten. And then when I posted that on my Facebook page, I said, it's like I feel like a miracle worker. Find a home for a kitten. It's like a miracle worker. And these 2 incidents of compassion for the smallest, littlest thing just demonstrated how far it is from there to feeling anything about 10 billion snow crabs ceasing to exist. And who's to blame for that? Should we be angry at someone? At this point, I would rather be in the woods and discuss that problem with trees. I mean, if the tree's been there for several centuries, and I have a feeling that the trees will be a lot better off. The sooner we're gone, the better. But this, one of the things that I was saying is that the whole idea of the show was that the focus is on thinking, not on explaining what the reality is. I mean, I don't expect anybody to see things the way I see things. Though what we need to do is be questioning and thinking, but how do we proceed into a future? If you see this as, we're at the restaurant at the end of the universe. So how do we behave, and how do we maintain a sense of gratitude and satisfaction and joy for the moments that are left to us where we have some privilege. So with that, I'm going to say adieu for this week. I am going to post a old video that I found from 2012. Karen and I went to Israel in 2012, and I came back and did a piece on campus. It's really not very good at all, but it's called Israel Then and Now, and it's remarks about Israel at a time when things were very different than they are now. So with that, I'm going to say have a good week, and I will see you next week. Stay safe.